Howdy neighbor, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I've got my banner up here, I've got my stencils. That art can do that. So finally getting a little more official here. So I just want to thank you guys for watching and liking my videos. Hopefully you learned a few things from me, hopefully. If not, it gave you hopefully gave you an idea. Alright guys. What we're gonna do today is have some doors in the shop that client provided. They had some doors that were damaged, so they just wanted to get some new doors. So they had these doors for a while, so now they're ready to install it. So what I need to do now is I have the measurements of the door jamb of where the hinges go. So I had it touch the whole frame at the top of the frame to the top of the first hinge. I took down that number, and then while the tape measure was still at the top of the jamb, then I measured the second top of the hinge. So I needed those numbers so then I can transfer that on to the door. So then that is with it touching the top of the door jamb, or the door frame, the top of the door frame. So now I'm gonna subtract out what I think should be a nice reveal on top, which is gonna be about 1/8 of reveal on top. So what I prefer to do is, if they have the old doors, it makes it easier because then I can line up the new door with that one, scribe it, route it out, and then I'll be able to, when I put it in there, there'll be very little modification, if any, at the door jamb on the striker where the door closes. And I've done quite a few of those already, and if you have the old door, it just makes it easier to line up. Then you know exactly the correct thickness of how much to leave on the door. It's about 3/16 to 1/4, maybe 5/16, just depends. So anyway, it just makes it so much easier to do it that way. So I just wanted to kind of share that information with you first, and then now we're gonna get started. We're gonna knock this out. So I want to bring you guys around the corner. I made a little, well, I'll just bring it up here. I made this little stand to hold my doors. All of this scrap 2x4s. So what I did was have this goes on the base, the floor. Then I have a longer one as a leg to support it. And then obviously this one goes on the outside first. And then once I know what the thickness of the door is, then you scoot this guy in or out, or maybe it's a wider door, then you're gonna need maybe a 2x6. But this is just plenty enough. It's not tight. It's got little wiggle rooms because when you get the door in, you don't want to scratch it. You don't want to do anything like that. So it has play in it. So then it's laying on its side, and then I'm able to use the router to route out for my hinge, which will make life easier. So then I'll scribe it, and then I'll have to kind of chisel out, just kind of fine tune it a little bit. But the router, we're going to get 90% of it done for me, and then we can go ahead and use the chisel. So we'll get right to it, guys. And one more thing I felt to mention is you got to know, is it a right hand, left hand? Does it swing to the right? Then it's a right hand. Swing to the left, it's left hand. So this is going to be a right hand, so that means the knob is on my left side. The hinge on this one goes on the inside because it's going to swing to the inside. So I got to make sure I place it in the right spot. So here we go. You know what? Let me bring you guys around. Alright guys, if it's a little noisy in the shop, it's because I've got 2 fans on, because it is kind of warm, even though it's about 9:30 right now. Alright, so you're just going to get it like this. I'm going to use my little foot there to hold that open. And there you go. So then now I've got something to hold it. This is so much easier to work on rather than on the workbench. All right, so took some measurements here. So from the top of the door frame down was 8.5 to the top of this hinge here. So I decided I'm gonna go I'm gonna come down 8 1/8, and that'll give me an 1/8 on top. So I'm gonna come over here, scribe 8 1/8. And I'm going to get the hinge that I'm going to use. Actually, it's my square. Square it off. Get my line. Now, so then from that point, open this guy up. And then okay, perfect. All right, and I'll show you in a second what I'm doing. So then the bottom was 68 3/4, again touching the top of the frame, and since I took off 3/8 of it, because it was initially 8.5, that was the initial size, and then I went to 1/8, so that is 3/8 off if my math is right. So then it's an 1/8 was the first one, so it's then after the 1/8 is 3/16, 1/4, 5/16, 3/8. So that's 1/4. That's 4. So did I take off too much? I think I did. Let's see, because I took off 3/8. Let me do the math real quick, guys. Hang on. All right, guys. Okay, so yes, I was right. So it was 3/8 off that we took off from the initial 8.5 from the top. So that means I got to come up 3/8 to take off 3/8 on the bottom. So it was 68 3/4, so it should be 68 3/8. Whoops. Where's my tape measure? 68 3/8. So that's 6 lines if you can. Alright, so there's I'm trying to mark it while it's there so that I know it's accurate. Where's my 3/8? There. Like I said, this is so much easier. And again, I'm sure there's a thing to buy for this, but why buy it? You can just make it out of scrap. 2x4s, 2x6, or whatever material you have. You know, if you do this a lot, maybe make it out of metal, then that way it's not going to warp. It'll always be true. So, but this works fine, and I used this when I did the metal gate. When I straightened it out, then when I painted it, I did the same thing. That was a metal gate, so I had it in here. Then I had the clamps to kind of hold it in, and then I, primed it and everything else. And then once it was time for paint, then I was able to take it off of this. But this definitely helps, guys. Definitely helps. All right, so now what we're gonna do is, what did I do? Okay, here we go. So I've got my little, I don't know what you call this thing. I can't remember what the heck the name of it is. Anyhow, I have it locked in. I think it's at 5/16 is the number. I'm guessing that's what it is, because I looked at my doors, my interior doors. Again, my house was built in 1970 something. But yeah, it's at 5/16. And that's why if you have the original door, then you're gonna know how high to go. And so what I did is I have it locked in on place at 5/16. I think it should be a quarter, but I'd rather have, you know, a little more meat on it, because then if I mess up, if it's not right, I can always take off and it'll make it easier. So I have it locked in. This lets you tighten it up. So then this is my guide, and so then now I'm going to scribe it, and then all right, so then this is how much I'm taking off, and that's how much is on the top. And like I said, I think I need to cut off a little bit more. Good thing by doing these so many times that I've done, I would know the number, but I think it should be a quarter, because it looks like it has too much. I'm gonna come back. Man, I don't know. I'll leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it at 5/16. I'll leave it at 5/16. We could always make the adjustments in the field. You know, I prefer to try to get everything done as we can here. All right, so let's make sure I've got it right before you do anything. So the door's like this, and then it's gonna swing to the right, this is correct. And I have 3 doors, so I have 2 right hands and 1 left hand. So all right, so the other thing was, okay, so this is set to that. Then I've got my router. Oh, that's what I need to do now. So hang on, guys. I'll move you over here. And I need to get the thickness of this for the depth of my router. And loosen it up. So I'm going to do here is push it out. And then once they're the same, so I just put it on here like that. And that should be exactly the same distance as that one. So then, that's how much I need to cut off. This looks perfect. Maybe just a hair more. But perfect. All right, so I've got that. So then now it's like, how am I going to do this? My router, this face here on this router is for doing stenciling. And so rather than take this off, put it back on and all that kind of thing, I'm not even gonna mess with it. So it has this hole which holds like a little sleeve in here. So obviously if I go like that, it's gonna be below here. So what you need to do is get a block, put it right here like that, okay, and then you put this right here, and then watch, I'm gonna put it on the side because I want the teeth to touch this. So then I need to unlock it, and of course the power is off and unplugged, so I'm just gonna lower it down. And then there you go. I picked it up a hair. So let's go back up, roll it back up. Alright, right there. So now it's showing that it should be the right depth for that. So what are we gonna do now? We're gonna do a test. I got a piece of scrap wood here. We're gonna plug it in. Let me clamp down the board, and then once we clamp down the board, then we'll go ahead and do a little test run on the routing, and then we'll confirm that it is the right depth. If we need to adjust it, we will, but I think it should be right, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so we're gonna plug it in. Oh wait, it's on. That's why you always make sure that it is off. So, but I have a switch right here where I have outlets on the workbench here. So once I'm done, I always turn it off, but it's good to make sure that it's always off. All right, so we're gonna do a test here. Oh, I have it on, but it's not gonna work. So here we go. Oh wow, what happened? Well, it's a good thing we did a test, because why? Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what I did wrong on that one. I must still be asleep. That's why we tested. I only left that small piece on there. Okay, so that was a whoops, boo-boo. Here we go again. Alright, so I'm gonna unplug it. I'm not sure what the heck happened there, but alright. Oh, I know what I did. It's because I did it like this. Hello. I'm like, man. Mine has like a quick release here, so I can lift it up. Okay, let's lift it up. Keep going. Yeah. Well, see, even I make mistakes, guys. See, now it's way below. This is like a 3/16. Alright, we're just gonna go with that and we'll test it out. Let's see. Sorry about this, guys. I thought I had it. I think that might be it. It's hard to tell, but we'll see. Alright, here goes take 2 on it. See what happens. That is perfect, guys. So it's the right height. It's the perfect height for this. So perfect. So I've got the right amount there. All I need to do now is hit it here. So let's take these guys off real quick. Alright. So I've got my lines here. Got the good old glasses. Here we go, guys. So you take your time, and there you go. It fits right in. All right. So this one has a bigger curve. It had a smaller curve, but that's fine. All right, so that is good to go. So now time to do the one in the front. Same process. Start it up first, then let it get to full power, and then you run it through. This one looks. There you go. Fits like a glove. So one door down, 2 more to go. All right, guys. So it's gonna be the same process. So I'll show you all of them once I'm done. So we'll be right back. Alright guys, one more thing to note is now that we've got the first one done, we know we did all the measurements right. Then you line them up and then you scribe it. That way you don't have to do the math all over again. And then, again, you don't have to do the math all over again. You already got it here done correctly, so that's done. So then you just transfer these marks to the next 2, 3, 4, 5 that you have, if they're all the same. And these hinges were all the same when I took measurements. So all I have to do is put them together, scribe them, and we're good to go. Then I can mark it off and then route it out, and then all I have to do now is just assemble it and put it in the door, and we're good to go. All right guys, well, like, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. You guys take care. Bye.